Hey there, this is Amelia here. Welcome to Amelia's crossdressing story. Today we are going to share a story called Never Wanted to Be a Girl Part 1. By Teddy. For more interesting and exclusive stories, please subscribe to my channel and support me at Patreon. I never wanted to be a girl. Really? I was perfectly happy as an abnormal teenage boy, trying to chase perfectly adorable teenage girls, and fighting the usual hormone battles, the occasional pimple, too tight pants, and walking into stop signs while ogling some cute thing in a tight skirt. I was looking forward to the summer before high school as a chance to get to know the local girls better. And there was no better place than the park. Acres and acres of picnic spots, ball fields, forest, and a huge, wonderful, spring-fed outdoor swimming area. Any girls worth their bikinis would be found sunning themselves on one of the benches or grassy spots. And since in our little town everyone knew almost everyone else, the park was the summer meeting place for all the kids. So by the last day of junior high school, I was ready. Long before, knowing I would never be able to compete on a level field with the muscle-bound moron contingent, I went for an eclectic look. Swimming and aerobics, hey, like I was one of 3 guys in a class with 26 good-looking girls, so don't knock it, gave me a lean, if not particularly muscular appearance. My hair was down past the middle of my back in a disarrayed, curly mop that seemed to attract girls like magnets. It was awesome to sit and enjoy a conversation while having my hair softly braided by a cute chick. And I seemed to have more fun around them. I hated the constant I'm bigger and badder competition that marked most of the guys my age. I did get a lot of pretty boy and sissy comments, but hey, the proof was in the pack of girls that were my friends, or at least acquaintances, and messing with me meant messing with them. Which was distinctly bad for someone's social life, not to mention their shins. And I was never without feminine companionship. It was less than a week into the summer when disaster struck. A group of older high school girls had decided to see how little they could wear before they got arrested, or created a riot. I had bicycled to the park with Tia, who was, in my opinion, the best-looking 15-year-old girl in town. She was also my best friend, and sort of look-alike. It was a standing bad joke that we were sisters, I was just the ugly one. We were near the edge of the swimming area where I was ogling the bathing beauty crew, and Tia was busy dissecting each of their flaws, when I heard people screaming. I looked behind me and saw a huge mowing machine heading straight at us. I managed to shove Tia out of the way just before it hit me. I felt an incredible pain across the back of my legs, and was thrown backwards onto the mower as it plunged into the water. Using my arms, I managed to stay on the surface despite the pain, and moments later Tia dragged me onto the beach. When I looked down and saw blood everywhere, I fainted. I woke up briefly in the ambulance and found Tia holding my hand. Then everything got hazy again, and I guess I passed out. The next time I awoke, I was lying on a hospital bed, with both legs suspended in the air and a nurse holding my hand. Just relax and let the anesthetic wear off. My name is Mary, and I'll be here with you until Dr. Sutton decides that you are ready to be taken to your room. I stared at her as what had happened percolated through to my consciousness. As the fuzziness began to clear, I could feel a slight throbbing from my feet, but otherwise I seemed to be okay. I was run over by a mower, and I had paused to think of a way to describe what I saw. And my colleagues and I just finished several hours sewing you back together. I saw an older man come into my field of vision. Samuel, I'm Dr. Sutton, Chief Orthopedic Surgeon here. I need to ask you some questions, then we will have time to discuss what happened to you. I nodded, and he proceeded to ask me a whole bunch of questions about how I felt, and pulling back some of the bandages covering my feet, he had me try and wiggle my toes, and stuck me in a bunch of places with something to make sure I could feel what he was doing. As he wrapped my feet back up, he was smiling. Everything looks great at this point. It appears there is no significant nerve damage and no damage to the tendons in the front of the foot. He looked at the tubes and machines connected to me, and pulled up a chair. It will be a few minutes before you can be disconnected and wheeled out of here and into the waiting arms of your family and friends. Are you up to knowing what happened and what we have done, or would you rather wait until everyone is present? My head was almost clear and my feet were starting to hurt. Now is fine, but is there something you can do about the throbbing? He smiled. I'll give you some pain medication just before we leave, okay? I nodded. Now as to what happened, apparently the mower blades caught the back of your ankles just before the impact knocked you off your feet. You received severe lacerations, and the blades mangled both of your Achilles tendons, which we spent several hours splicing back together. I stared at him. There was no mistaking the sad expression on his face. There was so much damaged and missing tissue that we had to shorten the tendons a great deal. It will take time and a lot of effort on your part, but I believe that with physical therapy and additional surgery you will eventually be able to walk again. It must have been the medications, but instead of panicking I slowly nodded. You are telling me I am crippled? You will be unable to walk, even with crutches, for at least 6 months, and probably much longer. Once the tendons are strong enough, we can begin the process of stretching them to allow your feet to return to a more normal position. As they are now, your feet are held in casts to keep you from placing strain on the tendons as they heal. When the casts come off, your feet and toes will be pointed down, almost like a ballerina's. From there we will begin the process of stretching the tendons, and when your feet can be flexed enough, you should be able to walk with crutches and special orthopedic shoes. He looked at the tubes and machines again. You are ready to make your debut. The nurse will give you a shot and wheel you up to your room. I will be in to check on you tomorrow. He held my hand in his. I gave you the straight story. You have a lot of healing and hard work ahead of you. But my personal opinion is that by the time you graduate high school you have a good chance of walking on your own to get your diploma. He left, and the first nurse, Mary, came back in and gave me a shot. By the time I was wheeled into what was to be my room, I was a bit woozy. I remember getting hugged and cried on by Tia and my sister and held firmly by my dad as he promised they would do everything possible to help me get back on my feet as soon as possible. The next morning I got my first lesson in bedpans and a thorough scrub down by the nursing staff. And the dubious honor of eating what was supposedly a nutritious breakfast. Yeesh. Tia was my first visitor. And she brought real food. A cheeseburger from the local Golden Starches. After listening to her run on and on about my saving her and being hurt, I finally told her to shut up. Tia, I did what I did because I love you, and you are my friend. So enough already. She looked at me, but managed to close her mouth. Did the doctors tell you and Dad about what they did, and what my future holds? She looked at her feet. They said that it will be a long time before you will be able to walk again at all, and that there will be more surgeries and lots of physical therapy before, if ever, you can walk normally. She came over and held me. Sam, it's not fair, I got away without a scratch, and you'll be in a wheelchair, and... She broke down and I held her till she was shooed out by the nurse who said it was time to change my dressings. Dad and came by early in the afternoon, and the conversations were very similar. Dr. Sutton dropped in and after examining me, spent some time discussing my upcoming care. I was surprised when he told me that they would be starting my physical therapy the next day. But you said I couldn't put any strain on my tendons until they have healed, and if you lie here in bed like a potato, your other muscles will get soft and flabby, making the whole recovery process longer. And staying in a hospital bed gets old fast. So for at least a couple of hours every day you are going to be working out. By any chance, do you like to swim? I nodded. Good. Once the wounds have healed, swimming will be the best possible exercise for you and your legs. He checked my chart and told me that he was going to continue the pain medications for another couple of days, after which I could expect to start expecting more discomfort. I lay there quietly thinking as he left. I guess the medications they gave me kept me from getting as upset about what had happened, because when they cut back the pain pills I started to get really depressed. Some of it was watching the summer go by outside the window. And watching the other kids, including Tia, moving freely about while I was limited to needing a crane to get from the bed to the wheelchair. The hospital sent a psychologist to talk to me, but I didn't want to talk, which made Dad and Tia upset. They tried to convince me to accept help, and I yelled at them. So it was with a lot of concern and emotion that, after 3 weeks in the hospital, I was finally sent home to continue my recovery. It was as I was settling into my new room, which was on the first floor where Dad's home office used to be, that I learned the insurance company for the firm that was operating the mower was going to pay for absolutely anything that related to my recovery while they were working to resolve Dad's claim against them. I wondered how money would help me get my life back together. There didn't seem to be much that could be done. Tia had other ideas. She and Dad had already set up a contract with a taxi service to provide us transportation wherever and whenever we needed to go. And once I was settled in, where turned out to be a local health club with a big pool. I felt like a complete idiot when 2 lifeguards carefully extracted me from the wheelchair and lowered me into the pool. After making me put on one of the flotation vests they used for beginning swimmers. But when I was floating by myself, my crippled feet seemed much less important. The special foam and fiberglass casts the doctor had made so I could swim were slightly buoyant and allowed my ankles a tiny bit of motion. Tia floated next to me, making sure I was going to be okay. I was weak, and my muscles weren't used to as much motion as they were getting, but I started to swim laps, and soon Tia made me stop because she was afraid I was getting exhausted. "Sam, take it easy. We will be coming here every almost day, all summer." "I'm fine." I lied. My muscles were screaming, but being free of the damned wheelchair and able to move on my own felt too good. But I am getting a bit tired. So what say we call it a day and go get some real food? Sounds good. We can do your physical therapy in the evening. I stared at her. Dr. Sutton had me certified as a special physical therapy assistant. That's why I was always spending so much time at the hospital when you were being worked over. I'm going to get paid a ridiculous amount by the insurance company to make sure you do your stretching exercises safely every day. Enough so I'll probably be able to go to college. Now let me get the lifeguards to haul you out of the water. Soon we were on our way to Papa Pepperoni's, the local pizza hangout, where I got mobbed by kids we both knew. As I munched proper teenage food, a heartburn special with extra cheese, I was forced to tell the story of what happened and what my future held. Geez, Sam, that sounds pretty rough. A whole year on your butt. Bobby was not the brightest kid I knew, but he had a good heart and cared about people. That's all for now. See you in the next video. For more interesting stories, please subscribe to our channel, and for exclusive content, please join us on Patreon. Link in the comment.